Could London actually be damaging Britain? A question for the BBC's economics editor, Stephanie Flanders.
Going to London these days sometimes feels like going to another planet. Britain might have been suffering the worst economic squeeze in a century, but it doesn't feel like it walking round here. And in many ways, it hasn't been like that either. There was a recession in London, but in large parts of the capital it was pretty hard to spot. House prices, for example, have risen 15% since the start of the financial crisis, when prices most other places have been going down. The 10 richest boroughs of London are now worth more in real estate terms than Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales added together. But it's not just bankers and Russian oligarchs who want to come here. A third of the population was born in another country.
A lot of the people here are global citizens, really. I bet they'd be more comfortable in New York or Tokyo than anywhere else in Britain. And they say, with everything going on, London is becoming the new capital of the world. You come out wondering, if it is like another country these days, do we really want London to carry on being part of the UK?
You might think that sounds like a crazy idea. Doesn't the rest of the country get enormous benefits from London's success? Not to mention about a fifth of its national income.
I've just been looking at the figures, and the average Londoner contributes about 70% more to Britain's national output than people in the rest of the country. So for each person, that's a gap of about £16,000 a year.
But one big reason for that is that other places haven't been doing nearly as well. The north-south divide has been widening.
So whatever London's success is doing for the rest of the country doesn't seem to be helping it to catch up.
All of which makes me wonder, as well as subsidising the rest of Britain, is London's massive success also holding it back? Birmingham used to be a match for London, economically and even politically. In the 19th century it had its own stock market and a powerful town hall. Not anymore.
We're still treated as if we're like a small district council.
The chief executive of the city council thinks taking London out of the picture might help Britain's big cities get some of their groove back.
At the moment, both the centres of commerce, politics, everything is focused in London, which means that all of how we look at countries comes from a London perspective, and not true in other European countries where there's a distribution of power centres. You know, if you move the Houses of Parliament to Birmingham, we're very happy to have them, that would change the dynamics of the country phenomenally.
Travel around, you see the other area where London's got things sewn up is transport. Incredibly, it takes longer to go by train to Manchester from here in Birmingham than it does to go to London, even though it's roughly half the distance. These shiny trams carry 22 million passengers a year in Manchester, but it also has better links with London than with much nearer cities.
Leeds and Manchester is 40 miles, less than 40 miles, then it takes an hour.
Brian Robson spent years thinking about how to help Britain's other cities get more of the action. He says this government has made a start with new city deals to give cities like this one the chance to set their own priorities in areas like transport. Places like Media City, here in Salford, may also show what other parts of the country could look like if they were able to think about what works in the new economy and chart their own course.
With this sort of development, rather like the Metrolink, is critically important to beginning to create a complementary node to London and the South East.
When you say node, you mean something that's going to attract lots of people in a particular industry?
South East. Well, in a variety of industries, not only industries but also service industries, the law, finance, accountancy.
Chuck the Chimp has been doing just that.
I mean, when we formed the company, we sat down and we tried to come up with a lot of different ideas for a game. And
One of many start-ups at Media City, their Chimp Act has been giving the Angry Birds a run for their money.
We felt that we wanted to be a media city because as a new company we wanted to forge links with other creative companies in the area.
Economists talk about, I think it's agglomeration benefits. The big advantage that London has is that everyone's there in one place. Do you start to feel like you get some advantages?
Very definitely. I mean, we also take on work for hire as well as producing our own brands and IP, and we've already had success in that area just through meeting people here at Media City.
Back in the day, of course, Manchester was a hub. Thanks to this ship canal, it once had the third busiest port in Britain, despite being 40 miles from the sea.
The ship canal was opened in 1894. That was really the golden age for Manchester. It was an economic powerhouse and it had a big, strong town hall to match. Almost ever since then, under Labour governments, under Conservative governments, power's been flowing south.
Now the world economy's changing again. Maybe some of that political power does need to come back. And the more I think about it, it's not London that the rest of the country has a problem with, it's central government. For generations, officials in Whitehall have taken more and more power away from places like this and trusted them less and less. This government isn't the first to say it wants to change that. You never know. Maybe this time they really mean it.